In the week 1 discussion, there are 2 options. For option 1, you're going to select a data set of 25 months, so just over a 2-year period, and just look at the one variable precipitation. You'll be creating a histogram, calculating some data values based off of the sample you select. And then to finish up, comment on the similarities and differences between your sample data and that of your classmates. So yes, you can make some comments about how maybe weather has changed over time, but look at this also through the lens, the perspective of just for any population in general, if different people are collecting different samples, why are those samples different from each other? In option 2, a professor is splitting the class into 2 groups based upon students' last names. And then we're going to look at the proportion in each group that has an iPhone. And so a few things to think about. You can talk about, are the groups the same size or not? Do you think they will be? Does that matter when you're calculating a proportion? Do the groups need to be the same size? And something else to think about, I'm just going to make up a number here. Let's say 60% of people have an iPhone. 60%. If you randomly go out into the world and collect a sample of people, you would then expect 60% of that random group to have an iPhone. If you collected a different sample, you would again expect 60% of any sample you collect to have an iPhone because that's the overall proportion of the population that has an iPhone. So if we're splitting a class up here into 2 groups, what percentage would you expect each group to have? Having people form groups just based off their last names is a pretty random process. And so what would that mean for the proportion of each of these 2 groups? Now, think about the size of a class as well. Some classes only have 10 people, 20 people in them. How is that going to affect P1 and P2? If the class was bigger, 100 students, 200 students, what would you expect between P1 and P2? Would they start to be closer and closer to each other? Or would you start to see more of a difference between them?